right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Postgame Show presented by Ricoh. Chris McPherson alongside former Eagles linebacker Ike Reese, and certainly not the performance we all had hoped for in this dress rehearsal for the regular season. The Eagles losing to the Browns by a score of 5-0. Now, before everyone panics, because I'm sure that's what everyone in Philadelphia is wanting to do right now, knowing that we're not going to see the starters for 2 weeks until the regular season opener on September 6th. For me, I think the biggest thing is the offense especially, because that's going to be the focal point of everyone's discussion tonight, is when you get back in practice over the next 2 weeks, Ike, you're going to get Jason Pierce back at left tackle. Hopefully you're getting Alshon Jeffrey back on the field. Darren Sproles be working in there. You're going to have the entire unit together. And Nick Foles had his struggles tonight, no questions whatsoever. But this actually makes me think back to the end of the regular season just a year ago. And the Eagles are coming off that victory over the Raiders on Christmas night, which wasn't so pretty, and then the regular season finale against Dallas, and they were getting ready for the postseason. And a lot of people were debating, should Nick Foles even be the starting quarterback going into the playoffs? Well, remember, the players rallied and said, we need to ratchet up the intensity of practice. We need to get our focus back together. We need to start hitting. The players wanted to hit in practice. And I think that's what you're going to see. Doug Pearson, we'll hear from him in just a little bit in his press conference. And I'm intrigued by the comments that Aaron Andrews, the silent reporter, made coming out at halftime as to Doug being angry. I'm sure he was upset, but it'll be interesting because of what she said in terms of we don't need to see any more of Nick Foles, what was really meant by that. And Doug's going to have to address that during his press conference because everyone was reporting about it and talking about it on Twitter. But to me, Foles is a veteran. We all know what he can do in this league. And certainly, again, sloppy performance tonight. And you're hoping that he would get his feet wet last week against New England. He bounces back from the injury. All right, he goes out there, gets a week under his belt, is able to go out there and start with the offense and get a full half of action and put in a better performance. And we didn't see it. After the turnover on downs, there was the safety, and then you have the 4 consecutive turnovers to end the first half. So you look at the numbers there, 127 yards, 2 interceptions, one where he's not able to look off the safety, the other an egregious throw in the red zone. Not a great performance whatsoever by Nick Foles, but he's a veteran quarterback if he has to go in there. That's the other thing. That's the caveat here is he may not be the guy who goes out there September 6th. You may have Carson Wentz cleared for full contact by this point. We don't know. He's not at this point yet. But still, to me, I'm not alarmed because I know this offense can rally around and get things tight because it is a veteran-laden team once that regular season opener comes around 2 weeks from tonight, Ike.
Yeah, when you look at this offense, really the whole preseason, you got to kind of break it down in different parts, right? Obviously, they're missing a lot of key players at the skill position. No Alshon Jeffrey, no Corey Clement tonight, no Nelson Aguilar, no Darren Sproles. We know that when those guys are in there, this offense is going to operate with much more efficiency. But, I mean, whether the report that Aaron Andrews put out there at halftime about Doug being upset about the first half performance of Nick Foles is accurate or not, I'll tell you my assessment of that in the first half. I was irritated by it, and here's why. Because Nick Foles is a veteran quarterback, and the interceptions that were thrown were really bad decisions being made to throw the ball. You got a safety over the top. You can't lob the ball up there. Mike Wallace didn't have a clear path to the football. That was a sitting duck. And then the one down in the red zone when the offense started to get some things rolling, you just can't make that throw there. He's a smart player, and Nick knows that. I'm not concerned about Nick and what he's capable of doing. We all know what he's capable of doing. But you'd like to see him make the right decisions with the football. We understand he's not playing with the A team out there at the skill position, so things can be a little harder, and that's where the onus falls on him as a team type player. Super Bowl MVP, you got to make good decisions with the football, and I'm pretty sure that's what I have Doug upset about the performance in the first half. It's not so much about how many points the team put on the board. It's just that when they got things going, they turned the ball over. They shot themselves in the foot. That's not what you want from an offense, and it's not all on Nick. There are other guys out there. No. You can't fumble the football out there. Vaitai struggled early against the former number 1 overall pick in Myles Garrett. A lot of pressure coming off that edge, collapsing the pocket, not giving the quarterback time to step up in there and make throws. Doug is a former quarterback. He prides himself in how his offense operates, and through the preseason with the first units that's out there, they haven't put many points on the board. So I know as a coach, they always want things to come back and look at the video and have to teach these guys when they hit the practice field next week. So he's the perfectionist from that standpoint. But just like you, he's not going to overreact and start panicking about his team. He has 2 weeks to get this team ready for the season opener against the Atlanta Falcons. They need to fine-tune some things, sharpen up, get some cohesion going. You got to get guys back on the practice field. I mean, that's just, or when Thursday night comes here against the Atlanta Falcons, you're going to see the same sort of disjointed offense because these guys haven't been out there. But there are a lot of other positive things to take out of this game. Young guys stepped up. I thought played well tonight. I thought Wendell Smallwood ran the ball well tonight. I thought Josh Adams ran the ball well when he got his opportunities. Deandre Carter continues to shine, made the most of his opportunities.
There's some great storylines there with these young guys.
Young players who you're looking for, depth, guys that are going to fill out the bottom of your roster. They showed some good things tonight. And then if you go on the other side of the football, the defense did what they were supposed to do tonight, which is shut down really an inept Cleveland Brown offense. Not really many weapons on that side of the ball. I love what the defense was able to do tonight.
Especially the veterans along the defensive line.
Yeah.
Okay, you're seeing Fletcher Cox, who, during the sideline report at the end of the game, Jim Schwartz saying it looks faster than ever before. And Fletcher Cox has been flat out dominant this preseason. You can argue he's been the best player on the field for the Philadelphia Eagles. Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson have had good preseasons, but Fletcher Cox standing out easily amongst all the defensive players. But Chris Long, you're seeing the tackles for loss, you're seeing the pressures in the backfield tonight. Haloti Ngata stepping up in a big way. Michael Bennett has made some plays there in the backfield. So you feel real good about the defensive line, which certainly the depth of that defensive line is what carried this team last year. And you brought in some new players, and you brought in some older, aging veterans in Ngata, in Bennett, and you want to know what do they still have in the tank. And you understand, again, it's preseason, and you don't need to see a ton of them from them at this point because their resumes showcase the experience that they have in this league and the success they've had individually. But they want to come back and be a part of a championship team, and certainly they did that tonight, seeing them out there on the field, being able to pressure. And as Doug Pearson said in the week leading up to the game, he wanted to see his team in some situational football predicaments tonight. We saw them at the 1 yard line, the goal line situation. They forced a couple incomplete passes as the Browns were trying to get some rub routes going. Didn't work whatsoever. Jim Schwartz, Corey Unlin, they work on that and they hammer that into the defensive backs pretty much each and every day in practice. They have certain drills where they focus on that, so it's not a surprise the Eagles were successful there. But then on fourth down, they forced Tyrod Taylor to come out to his left. He throws an errant pass that Jordan Hicks almost intercepts, and you see the Eagles get the goal line stand there. So defensively, you feel very, very good. And then the depth along the defensive line, some of the young guys, Joe Osman stepping up in a big way. Destiny Vile getting in the backfield. So that's going to be the key for this defensive line is you have some of those older guys along the defensive line. Can you infuse some youth there? Josh Sweat had a nice pop on a tackle for loss tonight. Those are the types of guys who are going to have to stand up. Steven Means is always around the football and is relentless. Can those guys help ease the burden so that Fletcher Cox and all those guys can be at their freshest at the end of the regular season to make that run into the playoffs?
And not only that, Chris, you got to think about it. When the offense has yet to find their rhythm because you don't have guys on the practice field, you're going to need your defense to really carry the load for you early. You got to take a little pressure off the offense to not have them have to put up, 28, 30 points a game. This defense prides itself, especially playing at home, holding teams to field goals as opposed to touchdowns. So that's certainly a good sign coming out of this game is that the defense, at least that first unit, really the whole team tonight, are really getting to a lockdown mode. Jim Schwartz has his guys flying around the football. Avonte Maddox tonight with his first interception. Nice play by him. That's what you want to see. You want to see at least one side of your team starting to round into regular season form.
One thing that bothered me about the telecast as well, and I don't know how you felt about this, or if you got to hear this, but Troy Aikman in the broadcast booth was talking about how Doug Pearson and Nick Foles went on their book tours and enjoyed the fruits of winning the Super Bowl. It to me has nothing to do with what we're seeing on the field right now. Doug Pearson is focused and will have this team ready for September 6th. You know that Nick Foles, with everything that he's been through in his career, he's not going to slide whatsoever at this moment, okay? We've had a couple ugly, not some great preseason performances here, but again, this has happened to Nick in the past where he's bounced back in a big way. Again, we just go back to last year and those performances at the end of the regular season against the Raiders, against the Cowboys. And look, they weren't great performances. They got the win over the Raiders on Christmas night. You only saw a little bit of Foles in the Cowboys game because it was the regular season finale and didn't mean anything in terms of the playoff seeding. Right. But he was good to go once the playoffs were underway and had a playoff run for the ages in helping the Eagles win the Super Bowl. But to me, he's turned a pass. This entire team has turned a page on what happened in that Super Bowl run. They're ready to get things going on September 6th, and we see the defense playing at a high level. The offense might just take a little bit longer because, again, you don't have, like you said, Ike, all of the pieces there together for pretty much all of the preseason at one time.
Yeah, we saw what this offense can do when you have all your components together and clicking at the same time. This offense led the league in scoring while the presumed MVP was still healthy and ready to go. So I'm not concerned about that. I think sometimes we as fans, we think that this team or teams can automatically pick up where they left off at the end of the season. It was a short offseason for these guys. I'm not making any excuses for them, but they're in a position they've never been in before as defending champions. And whether it's the preseason or the regular season, they had better get used to their opponents giving them their best. They are the standard bearer now. You are defending champions. You're the team that's circled on everyone's calendar. When you come to town, they want to see how they stack up against you. Even in the preseason game, you saw last week against the Patriots how they game planned for that game last week. The Browns tonight wanted to come out and have a good showing. It's a nationally televised game.
They're going to be on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, they wanted to show. They wanted to see how they looked going up against the Super Bowl champions, even if it's not the full complimentary squad that's going to be there September 6th. So, like I said, Nick Foles has been in this league long enough. He was actually 13 of 17 tonight, so his accuracy was there. It was just the two decisions he decided to make by putting the ball in harm's way, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't need to be reminded of it, but I'm sure that's something Doug and Mike Groh will talk with him about knowing to protect the football, especially when you're down in that red zone and you basically have 3 points guaranteed for you on the board. You don't put the ball in harm's way. Nick knows this, and I'm pretty sure a couple throws he wishes he could have back.
You brought up a great point earlier in that the young guys on offense, because of all these injuries, got a chance to step up and shine and try to earn their way onto this Eagles roster. And we talk about Wendell Smallwood and that battle for the fourth running back spot. Wendell Smallwood has been healthy this entire preseason. He's been the one guy the offense can rely upon. Injuries have hurt him and hampered him in the past, but you saw him catch the ball well in the backfield because it's not just can you run the ball in between the tackles, and we saw that last week with Matt Jones. It's a matter of can you pass protect, can you help out in the passing game so that you're versatile and can be available and ready to go on all three downs. I thought Wendell Smallwood showed that. I also thought he did a good job of taking the yards that were blocked for him, but creating some yards for himself, especially on that 1 10-yard run that was inside the red zone in the first half there. And Josh Adams, I thought he provided a little juice there coming out of the backfield, caught the ball well. So he missed last week's game with an injury, bounced back in a big way. But Deandre Carter, one of the truly special stories on this Eagles roster, a former rookie free agent back in 2015 out of Sacramento State. He's playing on his 5th NFL team, has not played in an NFL regular season game. Basically, he made a promise to his brother on his deathbed, his brother's deathbed, that he would continue pursuing his NFL dream and keep fighting until he made his way onto a team, and got a chance to handle punt returns early in the game, showed some juice when he caught the ball in space, had some nice catches as well, using the hands. Overall, I thought he contributed a lot to the table tonight here to try and force his way onto the roster. You pretty much feel like you're pretty set right now with Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar, Mike Wallace, Matt Collins, and Shelton Gibson, who's continuing his strong preseason at number 5. Can you keep a 6-1? I don't know.
It'd be difficult.
It might be difficult, but certainly Deandre Carter is making a strong case where he can do so.
Yeah, and a big part of preseason is trying to evaluate young players and seeing not only if they can help you as far as depth at the bottom of your roster, but are they worth keeping around to develop, right?
Yeah.
Whether they become practice squad guys or not. And I think Carter has certainly put himself in a position, if nothing else, to remain with this team, at least from a developmental standpoint. And that's what you like to see. You like to see young guys get the opportunity and then take advantage of it. He's done that really throughout the preseason when they've thrown in the football. Don't recall many drops from him, if any at all. Typically catches the ball. I like his build. He looks like a strong runner. Once he gets the ball in his hands, not afraid to go up and make plays in one-on-one situations. The wide receiver group is so deep. it's just going to be difficult to crack that 53-man spot. But listen, you never know. Injuries happen, things of that nature. He can't control that. Only thing he can control is when his opportunities arise, he needs to take advantage of them, and he's been able to do that throughout the preseason.
All right, we are going to send it now to First Energy Stadium to hear from the head coach, Doug Pearson. Take it away, Doug.
Shoot. Go ahead. Let's go.
The halftime report made it seem like you were frustrated with Nick Foles' performance today. Is that an accurate assessment?
Not Nick, offensively. We had 6 possessions. We had 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. We had a sack safety, and we had a turnover on down. So that's an offensive performance. I was displeased with the way our first offense executed.
Are you concerned?
Go ahead.
Just one quick follow-up. Are you concerned that they're getting offensive yards, but seem to be unable to convert that?
Yeah, that's the thing is we were able to move the ball and got into some rhythm and did some really nice things. We just didn't capitalize and finish the drive, and that's the part we got to look at. And I've got to do obviously my part to put us in situations from a play caller standpoint. So it leans solely on me, and then obviously the players have to execute what we call.
So this being a dress rehearsal, how do you balance being disappointed in the offense, disappointed with Nick Foles' performance, / it's just a preseason and things will turn around?
First of all, I'm disappointed in the offense. I don't want to single out one player, so don't put this all on Nick. I'm disappointed in the offense. And it's not what you want, obviously, in the third preseason week. Listen, it's one of those things where we're still keeping things very, very vanilla, and we still want to evaluate and make sure, we're doing, we got the right guys in the right spots. Now we turn our attention. Obviously, we got one more preseason game, and then turn our attention to Atlanta week 1.
How encouraged are you by the defense, especially having that first and goal at the 1 and they shut it down?
It's tremendous. I thought defense played outstanding. They were flying around. They were making plays. The goal line stand was pretty impressive, and that's what you want from your defense. And kept the offense obviously in the game the entire game, and the offense has just got to do their part, and capitalize on opportunities.
It seems the big caveat is that you're missing 5 offensive starters, 3 other contributors there. How much different do you expect this offense to look come September 6th?
Well, I think it'll be different. Just as you mentioned. And we just got to make sure that these guys are ready to go, obviously, in a couple of weeks. And we'll take a look at this film, obviously, evaluate the guys that played and get them healthy and ready for Atlanta.
Why do you think Nick is making the kind of mistakes he made tonight? Mistakes that veterans are making such
It could be a lot of factors, It's hard to pinpoint one, but I think, sometimes maybe you put a little bit too much pressure on yourself, or you press to make a play, or whatever it might be, and I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. Haven't been in those situations before. Sometimes you feel like you need to make a play yourself when you're struggling offensively, and it doesn't come. So, we can't do that. We got to stick within our plan, stick within our means, and continue to execute.
You said you've been in that position before.
As a player. Yeah.
You very seldom were the guy, and he's kind of not the guy here. Do you think that plays into how he's performed, given your record?
I don't know. I mean, he finished the end of the season pretty well last year, and we know who he is and what we need to do to get him ready to go. And again, we're still pretty vanilla offensively, and we haven't done any of our RPO game, and those are all things that are part of his strengths too. And so we got to make sure that we're when we put game plans together going forward that we're utilizing his strengths too.
It's safe to assume you're not going to give any consideration to playing in the 4th preseason game, correct?
No.
Was there consideration that?
No.
Oh, other coaches have done it. So
I know.
making sure.
I know. Yeah. At this point, no.
Was there consideration playing them in the second half?
No, no. I mean, I thought about it just a touch, but I thought this would be a great opportunity for Nate to get back out there and get another good opportunity to see him and see some of those twos out there.
How's Kelsey?
He's fine. Yeah, he's good. Of course, I'll get a report here in a minute and let y'all know in the next couple of days. But he came off and he finished and he was fine.
Doug, when you've been through something like Nick has and the way last year ended, like you referenced, is part of him trying to be, great before he can just kind of go run the offense, just trying to be Super Bowl MVP Nick instead of just doing what he's supposed to do?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say that you might want to ask him, that question. But again, we just got to make sure that as coaches and myself included as play callers that we put our guys in positions to be successful. And the past is the past, and we can't rely on that. It's a new season, new team, and we just got to continue to work and get better.
I know your messaging in there is sometimes different than with us. Are you pissed off in there, or are you vocalizing any disappointment in there, or are you trying to kind of not make it a big deal?
Well, I mean, when you don't score and you play the way you play on offense, it's and I'm being an offensive guy, I'm not very jovial in there. I mean, I'm not patting guys on the back. Praise the defense. I think the defense played lights out, played like they should. And offense just didn't do enough, obviously. And they understand it, and I wanted to make sure they heard it from me, and we just move on. We fix it, move on, and season begins in a couple of weeks.
How do you make sure something like this wouldn't linger with most of the starters obviously not going to play in that fourth preseason game? How do you make sure something like this doesn't linger into the regular season?
Well, the way the schedule's set up now for us, practice-wise, we get a chance to still work the starters a lot, this next couple of days, and get them mentally and physically prepared for that week one opener, and still got to work, still got to put in the hard work and preparation, and they understand that, they know that it's a veteran group, and they'll bounce back, they'll respond. They've always done that, and this is no different.
What did you see from Vaitai, and what's he working through to try to get back to that level he was playing at last year?
I mean, he's another one that's battling every single snap, and fighting and trying to work his technique and his fundamentals, and had a couple of plays tonight that I'm sure he'd want back, but he's another one that we just got to continue to build confidence in, and we know what type of player he is, and got to continue to get him the reps and the work he needs in practice to be ready to go.
Isaac played four positions tonight. What do you think of his play?
Well, I thought he played well, actually. We'll evaluate the tape. Obviously, going home and get a chance to look at it. But he's one of those guys that very versatile. Can play all five positions and smart, athletic. I thought overall did a nice job. Okay, thank you guys.
We got to go back out through that way.
Anybody else?
All right, there's head coach Doug Pearson addressing the media at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland. Don't put this all on Nick. That's the main thing here. Is it's not just one person. It was the entire offense that broke down here this evening, and why the Eagles were shut out and not able to score any points in the 5-0 loss to the Browns. Ike.
Yeah, and I thought Doug explained it exactly like we thought he would. I mean, Doug is a guy, he's looking at the entire offense. It's never just one guy, whether a quarterback is being ineffective or the offensive line is not blocking well in the running game. It's an entire offense. Offenses work in sync, they work in unison, and sometimes you can have breakdowns at different levels of the offense. But just focusing on that side of the football, I thought Doug was able to really explain exactly how a lot of us felt that, they move the ball at times, and when you get in scoring position, you got to take advantage of those opportunities. That's really what a coach wants to see. And Doug, being a particular offensive side of the football coach, they want to see you finish drives. You get down there in that scoring area, whether it's they love to have the touchdowns. That's exactly what they would prefer, but you got to at least come out of there with 3 points. And the offense moved the ball at times. They actually outgained the Cleveland Browns tonight. They just couldn't get anything inside the end zone. Wish that touchdown pass to Rashad Davis. He could have got his Tony toe tap on there and kept his feet in bounds. That would have been a touchdown for the guys tonight. But I've been in games like this where, listen, the coach doesn't have to say a whole lot. When you see a 0 on the board, the players know. The players know, and particularly on the offensive side of the ball, I'm sure they realized they could have done some things a lot better tonight, and they've been better in the first 2 games. For whatever reason tonight, they just didn't get the job done.
Here's where I want your insight, Ike. Halapoulivaati Vaitai, okay, 3rd season in the league. As a rookie, came on. He had that difficult matchup against Ryan Kerrigan, gave up, I think, the 3 sacks, especially to start the game, and, rough outing to start his career, but settled down after that. Last season, came off the bench and was a key contributor for the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, starting at left tackle, taking over after Jason Peters went down, and Peters was having an all-pro type season, in my estimation, at the time of the injury against Washington. This preseason, last week, you could chalk it up to a bad outing, struggles against the Patriots, gives up a couple sacks, including the one by Adrian Claiborne, which knocked Nick Foles out of the game. So you figure, okay, he gets his mindset right, he's focused, he's harnessing in on this game, and all of a sudden, Myles Garrett, wins the battles, majority of the battles up front against him tonight. So back-to-back struggling performances for Vaitai. What can someone who's had success in the league do to get himself to bounce back and get things on track, knowing that he's going to be the swing tackle for this team? He could be relied upon at some point in the season, whether it's for a couple plays, a couple series, or a few games.
He's got to keep working his craft and his technique. You got to get with Coach Stoutland. If you need extra work after practice, Coach Stoutland is an outstanding coach. He'll be there to continue to coach him hard. You're going up against the former #1 overall pick. And after he watched on film what happened with Adrian Claiborne last week, you had to know Myles Garrett was juiced up for this game tonight. He was ready to go. And early in the game, they didn't give Vaitai much help over there. He had to block him one-on-one, and Myles Garrett won that matchup. And quite frankly, Myles Garrett should win that matchup if it's one-on-one. You're talking about the #1 overall pick in the draft going up against, the 5th-round draft pick Vaitai was?
Correct.
So while Vaitai certainly did a nice job filling in for Jason Peters when he finally got his feet under him, part of that was team blocking as well.
All right, we're going to send it back to Cleveland, where quarterback Nick Foles is set to address the media.
I'm just making, there's times where I feel good and I'm making some mistakes. It's as simple as that. I just got to keep being critical of myself, keep watching the film, understanding what's going on. I have to keep playing, keep going through it. Obviously, I haven't been myself, and I expect a lot of myself. But, I got to keep looking at it, keep learning. I've played this game a long time, so I know how to, address this and just keep moving forward and keeping that positive outlook.
What do you think the issue is, per se?
I'm just making mistakes. I have to go look at the film. For me, it's just getting back into rhythm, playing ball. We had an opportunity to win the day. That's on me. I made too many mistakes at critical times that hurt us as a team. So if I clean that up, we win this game. But I thought the Browns, they played really hard. They're improving that team. You can tell how they're flying around and what they're doing. They played real well, obviously. But yeah, I gotta, continue to keep working.
Didn't look like you had a clean pocket very much.
That's football. I have to do a better job of stepping into the pocket, moving around, protecting the ball in the pocket. That's on me helping those guys out. They fight for me every single down. So that's where, the feel of the game, the rhythm of the game, just continue to work the pocket. The pocket's not always – you're going to have to work it a little bit, and I need to do a better job of that.
Nick, what happens in the next 2 weeks to make everything come together?
You know what? Sort of take a breath. I go see my daughter. I see my wife. I do what I always do because this game sometimes can you sort of get entrapped in it, and that's part of it. But for me right now, that's the most important thing I'll do. And then I'll go back to the film. I'll go back to work. I'll be critical, and I'll keep working day in and day out with the guys in the locker room to improve and fix what's going on. That's the challenge of sports, is facing adversity. And, we're facing a little adversity in the preseason right now. We're trying to, figure out our DNA on offense and doing that. But, I have all the confidence in the world in everyone. I have confidence in myself to continue to improve. And, that's the great thing about this team is, we're going to continue to work together, lean on each other in this time, and we're going to be better for it.
What happens starting week 1, in the case that you do you feel like you guys can just snap your fingers and the offense just get rolling here after kind of a tough game and a half in the preseason?
I don't think you can just snap your fingers, no. That's where, we'll get back to work. We have a lot of work to do. It's not going to be easy, but that's why we're here. That's why, we're a part of this team. That's why we're in the NFL. Is we know that we have to be critical of ourselves and we have to get back to work, get back to the basics, and just sort of, play our kind of ball. And that's moving the ball around, running the ball, throwing deep, throwing short, screens. Just execution. We weren't clean on execution tonight. We haven't been as clean as we want to be on execution throughout the preseason, and we know that. And so all the guys in the locker room, we're going to get back to work like we always do and just continue this bond that we have.
Nick, what wasn't happy with the play of the offense. What was his message to the offense at halftime?
I mean, we just got to pick it up. We know that. He shouldn't have to say that, but, just that we have to pick it up, we have to clean it up. I mean, we got to put points on the board. We have to help our defense out. They played lights out tonight, and, they kept us in the game. So we have to do a better job of helping them out and putting points on the board.
It's obvious that what happened in January raised the standards. Do you find yourself trying to live up to that in the
No, I don't. I know that this game's a process and that I've played this game my whole life, and I haven't always played great games. There's times where these are the toughest ones where you just have to keep battling. It really shows you what you're made of deep inside. And I was going to keep firing it no matter what. I mean, I didn't want to throw any more picks, but I was going to throw another one. I was going to keep firing the ball. You can't play with fear. I didn't play as clean as I wanted to, but I know that knowing me, knowing this team, that we're going to learn from and move forward. There's a lot of great stuff to learn from this game. It's an emotional game. It's not fun playing the way I did. It really hurt us tonight, but I know that I can improve and I will improve.
Nick, some of your best games have followed immediately some of your worst games. I think that Oakland game was your first game after that Dallas game.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a kind of a recurring theme. Any idea why, and how do you kind of work through those times?
That's just, you play this game, you're going to be analyzed. Everyone's going to analyze your every move. Everyone's going to look for perfection, and we're not perfect people. I'm not a perfect player. I've not had a perfect game, and I never will. But, that's just sort of how it's gone. But I've learned a lot through those games. That's where I can lean on all those experiences, like I said, and, do what I did then and just continue to improve and, not be too hard on myself while being hard on myself, because if you're too hard on yourself all the time, you're going to crumble. So I'm excited about getting back to work, working with the guys in this locker room. I'm optimistic about it. I mean, there's a lot of learning tonight. I mean, I was learning in this preseason game playing like that. I mean, I built a database of information that I can pull from now, and it only happened in a half. So.
From the outside looking in, it's clear the offense is missing three of the top four receivers, the top three running backs. How much is that affecting the offense right now?
You know what? We had opportunities tonight to score, and we made mistakes. We hurt ourselves. Obviously, you want those guys to be healthy and be out there, but there's no reason we couldn't put points on the board tonight. I made we had a turnover in the red zone. I threw a pick in the red zone. And then the other turnovers, that hurts us. So we can't have that. We can't expect to win with that many turnovers. We have to play a lot cleaner. I thought there was a lot of good stuff tonight. I mean, we're going to, obviously it was a tough game, but there's a lot of great stuff. I thought a lot of guys played well. We were able to move the ball on a couple series and sort of get things going, and, we sort of shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times. But I think that's where we're going to look back and just improve and be critical of ourselves in those moments.
As you know, all eyes are on Pearson now in terms of his recovery. You said you want to get back and do what you thought. What's your mindset, though, in terms of preparing for week one?
I mean, we get ready. We get ready as a team. I do what I've always done. You prepare to play. Obviously, there's a lot going on with this game in the last couple of weeks, but I go back, I study film, I do my prep week like I've done. I get the body right, continue to bond with the guys in the locker room and get ready to roll.
Take a couple more.
What have you seen out of Deandre Carter? It seemed like he had a pretty big game tonight.
Yeah, I think Deandre's played really well. He's one of the guys that I thought played really well tonight. He's played well throughout the preseason. For a guy who's newer to the team, I think he does a lot of great things. He's got a wide range where he can catch from. He uses his hands well, runs really good routes. So I've been really impressed with how he's played.
On the safety, did you trip over someone there?
Yeah, my foot sort of got caught, and I was trying to get up, so that was unfortunate.
Doug was saying that the offense is pretty vanilla right now. I mean, when you go into these games, are you just trying to work on your base plays, your foundation plays, or how do you kind of approach it game plan-wise?
Yeah, preseason, we're still, we still have plays ready to roll. It's our job, it's my job to make sure that they're executed right, and, I didn't do my job the last couple of weeks to make sure that, we executed the plays at our highest level. That's something that is next week, so I got to get ready to roll.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, there's quarterback Nick Foles addressing the media at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland. No excuses on his part, as the Eagles, of course, are not game playing for this time of year. Coach Pearson said a short time ago that you're not seeing any of the RPOs from our offense at this point, and that's something that was very successful for Foles and the Eagles in the playoffs last season. And of course, Ike, this may be the last time we see Foles in game action, because 2 weeks from now, Carson Wentz could be under center for the Eagles if he's cleared for full contact. And certainly I'm sure everyone is hoping that's the case. And Wentz is very optimistic that that will happen, but still, Foles has the right mindset where he'll go back to the drawing board, he'll learn a lot from tonight's game, and he'll do what he needs to do. He'll be critical of himself and make sure that mentally and physically he's ready if he's going to be the guy on September 6th.
Listen, I'll go to battle with Nicky Six any Sunday. I mean, that guy stands up there. He holds himself accountable. That's what a leader does. That's what a good quarterback does. He understands that he didn't play up to his expectations. He understands it starts with him. Doesn't make any excuses. Love the way he addressed the media right there. Listen, he's sort of hard on himself, a little too hard on himself, but that's just the expectations that he has of himself. And if there's one thing we've learned about Nick Foles, you can never count this dude out, man. He knows how to bounce back and get himself right. And like he said, he's been in this league long enough. He's played in big games. He's had big performances. He'll be right. If he's the guy that has to go opening night against the Atlanta Falcons, I have no concern. He has 2 weeks to get himself together.
Indeed. So we've heard from Coach Pearson. We've heard from quarterback Nick Foles. What we're going to do now is take a quick break here on the Postgame Show presented by Ricoh. Now, if you're following us on Facebook or Twitter, you're going to need to come on over to PhiladelphiaEagles.com or the Eagles app to watch the rest of the show. We're going to go position by position and analyze how this team is stacked heading into the regular season, since we're not going to see the starters in that fourth preseason game. And later on, we'll give you some storylines to follow for that final preseason game a week from tonight against the New York Jets. So again, if you're on social media, you need to come on over to PhiladelphiaEagles.com. We'll give you all a few minutes to get yourself situated.